This part of the video guide covers the introduction of an opening vent to your Slimline lantern. Part 3 picks up from stage 1 at the point where your roof lantern is ready to receive the glass panels. Where on the previous guide it was mentioned that 2 packers are required for each side of the lantern, this will change for the sides where an opening vent has been included, and you'll require 2 packers per pane of glass and 2 for the vent section. These are provided as part of your kit. You may have opted to just have a single panel of glass on the opposite side to the vent, in which case only 2 packers will be required to sit the glass onto. If you've opted to mirror the vent on the opposite side of the lantern with split bars, known as T-bars, as we covered in part 2 of the video, you'll need to employ the same principle in having 2 packers per glass panel for the mirrored side of your lantern. You may have opted to have a vent on both sides of the lantern, and in this case, the same principle applies. Following the preparation of the glazing tape, remove the first 5 cm off both ends of your ridge and hip bars, as per part 1 of the video. Take the 2 small panels of glass that go either side of the vent section and position them correctly into the packers, making sure at the same time that they're pushed up against both hip bars as much as possible. Next, take both shorter inner T-bar sections and apply the glazing tape to them as per part 2 of the guide, remembering to peel the first 5 cm of both sides at both ends, folding the cover around the back to be reached from inside the lantern when completed. Ensure the T-bars follow the lines of the glass, without the glass edge touching the central spine of the T-bars. You can now bring your vent housing in, which is the non-glazed section, and position it between the 2 sections of T-bar, positioning it centrally, also not allowing it to touch the central spine of the T-bar. Before your hip and ridge carriers and top caps can be introduced, you need to prepare the ridge carrier as per section 1 of the video, cutting the 4 corners off the ridge carrier and trimming the runners if they've been distorted. There needs to be another cut made following this based on the vent being there. Position your ridge carrier without tapping it to fix it, positioning it as close to its eventual position as possible, and mark where the outside edge of the T-bar will fall. You need to take 5 mm off the ridge carrier between your 2 marks. We recommend you use a hacksaw to get the 5 mm depth required, followed by using a sharp Stanley knife to run along the outside of the hip runner, located near the outside edge of the vented side. Once you've scored this along this line, using the runner as a guide, this small section should break away easily. The purpose of making this cut is to allow the vent to sit correctly under the ridge cap when applied later. Only repeat this cut on the other side if there's a vent positioned both sides of the lantern. If you have mirrored the vents with splits in the glass, follow the principles mentioned in section 2, starting by introducing the outer 2 panes of glass, then your T-bars, and lastly your central pane of glass. You can then fix the 2 triangular end panels as per part 1 of the guide, not forgetting to fold the first 5 cm of glazing tape covering to the inside of the lantern from both ends of the hip bars. You can now introduce your hip carriers and top caps as per part 1 of the video, followed by the ridge carrier and ridge top cap, not forgetting to use silicone as instructed. You can also cut the excess of your hip bar carriers now if you wish, followed by fitting the hip and caps and ridge end caps. Now you're ready to complete the T-bar sections on either side of the vent by adding the longer outer T-bars. Generously fill the gap between the 2 glass and vent housing panels as shown with the silicone provided. Apply double-sided tape to the back of the longer outer T-bar, either side of the central spine. We advise 2 layers of glazing tape to be applied to the side of the T-bar that will fix to the glass. This will ensure that the T-bars will sit flush when fixed, as the vent sits slightly proud of the level of the glass. Remove the entire covering of the glazing tape from both sides of both T-bars. The end of the T-bar that has the central spine notched out will be positioned at the bottom. Push the T-bar into the silicone to complete the seal, ensuring the top of the T-bar is butted up tightly to the ridge top cap. Press down firmly to ensure the glazing tape sticks to the surface of the glass and vent housing all the way down. If you have a vent on the other side of the lantern, repeat this process. Your mechanism is pre-attached to your vent housing and vent. If you've opted for an electronic opening vent, ensure a qualified electrician carries out this aspect of the installation. Complete the unit by sealing the underside of the glass, as per Part 1 of the video guide. Lastly, peel the glazing tape carefully from the ridge, hip and T-bars from the inside of the lantern. The assembly of your Slimline lantern is now complete. You're now ready to flash the upstand with your chosen roof membrane. Correctly installed, your Slimline roof light will give you years of trouble-free pleasure, bringing more light into your home and transforming your living or working space. To give you additional peace of mind, Roofmaker offers a 20-year guarantee on all our sealed glazing units across our entire product range.